All right. We're going to go ahead and get started. So welcome in, everybody. Thanks for taking some time out of your evening to spend some time with us and to get to meet our newest tech ambassador, Brittany Joseph. I am going to share one more little PowerPoint with everyone. Here we go. All right, so this is our intro event with Brittany Joseph. So here's our agenda for this evening. This is our short welcome, and as you'll see in a second, we're going to do a quick little Tech Ambassadors sort of commercial, if you will. We're going to go through some of the basics of supportive tech, just so that we've got the stage set for the other discussion that we'll do. Then we'll let Brittany, we'll turn her loose to just kind of tell you her story and the role technology has played in it. Then we're going to have a tech spotlight where she's got some specific technology she wants to talk about and share with everybody. Then Brittany actually has a special guest that's going to come on for her to have a short discussion with, Kate Schwartz, a person that she's known for a long, long time. And then we are going to preserve the rest of the time here, almost a half an hour for questions and answers with Brittany. Okay, so right on to my little Tech Ambassador sort of commercial. Here's some news. We have some events that are coming up. We have an in-person event that's going to happen in Guernsey County at their Board of DD in Cambridge. That's going to be on the 28th of this month. That'll be a lunch and learn from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. If you know folks out in that part of the state who would like to come and meet our Tech Ambassadors, Jen Schlegel and Marcy Strotter, and get to see in person some of the technologies they use, you should encourage them to come. And then we're going to have another in-person event that will be a very similar event, lunch and learn style event with Renee Wood and Nate Turner at the Ability Center in Toledo. That's going to be on October the 26th, again, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And lunch will be provided for both of those. We also have an event that's coming up in Athens at their community center. Our date there is TBA. We thought we had a date, and there's a possibility that one might change. Okay, so that's Athens Community Center, right there near Ohio University. And I mentioned there that we have a virtual event, and I thought I had the date for that. I might have to mention that later. Okay, a couple of extra things about Tech Ambassadors and how we can help outside of the events that we hold, such as this. We do personal consultations of all types. You can go to our website here at ohiotechambassadors.org/request and fill out a form. And that could be for us to join an SSA staff meeting, a conference of some sort. We've had people all over the state want us to join sort of tech-related events, and we love to do that. But really the heart of our program is talking to individuals and families. So especially any individuals in your community or your county, if you know of people who have questions and they would like the perspective of somebody who uses and depends on technology every day to be independent, we would love to have them come out and make a request. We would be happy to meet with those folks. We also have a resources page at our website with all kinds of resources, including all the remote support providers and their contact information. And then we have some short demo videos on our YouTube channel, anywhere from 2 to maybe 6 minutes long, where you get to see our Tech Ambassadors in action using the technology that they use in their everyday lives. And then there's one way that you can help us. We are still looking for a new Tech Ambassador that is a DSP, someone who's passionate about technology, to join our team. So if you know that person, have them get in touch with us. They can reach us at info@ohiotechambassadors.org. And that email address is plastered all over our website if you find that you think that might be hard to remember. Okay, just a couple of little pieces of information on supported tech, and then we're going to get to why I know you all came, and that is Brittany. So supported tech, according to our department, DODD. Supported technology is a term that they use, and it's made up of two different things. So the first is what most people call assistive technology, and that is equipment, I say, but really it's anything that assists a person with a developmental disability in activities of daily living, anything they do in their life. A shortened way to say that is anything that helps that person do anything better or more efficiently or easily. Okay, so that could include special adaptive devices, maybe an induction stove, a medication dispenser. In other words, things that were designed just for people in our community. But it could be like a mainstream consumer device too, a digital assistants like all the Amazon Alexa stuff, Google Home, lights, doorbell cameras, thermostats, many examples of those exist. But it doesn't have to be anything electronic or anything that is battery operated. It can be an adaptive fork, a rail in a bathroom, a pillow. Again, just anything that helps that person do anything that they're doing more easily. Okay, so those are all considered assistive technology. The other half of supportive technology is remote support. So this is a personal service. It's delivered over two-way audio or video, usually video in this day and age, by trained support staff. So I heard someone say this recently, and I think it's a great phrase. Think of it as remote staff. Okay, so in the same way that the people, maybe homemaker personal care staff would be trained on the needs of a person whose home they were going to go to, these remote folks are trained on all of those same needs. Okay, but in addition to being able to talk to that person over two-way video, the service also involves equipment very often. Not in every case, but most of the time it's going to involve some equipment that's necessary for them to assess safety in the home. So that might be a camera, maybe not. Could be sensors, motion sensors, heat sensors, water sensors, security systems, door locks, all kinds of different things like that that allow them to deliver that support remotely. Okay. Well, it is that is enough of me talking, right? So I'm going to see if I can avoid. It's not going to work, excuse me. But let me just introduce Brittany Joseph to everybody. We're so happy that she's joined our team. Brittany, take it away.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us this evening, and welcome to the webinar. I'm really excited to be joining the Tech Ambassador team and helping out with this initiative. I'm pretty passionate about technology. So just a little bit about me. I have been in the assistive technology realm now for about 12 years. So I was formerly an assistant teaching professor at Bowling Green State University and taught assistive technology courses to both undergraduate students and graduate students. But before that, I was a mother to, and I still am, a mother to a son with autism. And he was diagnosed when he was 5 years old and used assistive technology from the time that even before he was diagnosed until even today. He's now 15 and in high school and actually playing in a high school varsity golf match tonight. So he has come leaps and bounds, and I love sharing his story because it helps remind other parents that no matter how much they're struggling with their young children, with the right supports and the right interventions, those young kids can come a really, really far way in their journey. So one of the things that I just wanted to share kind of in my tech story is a little bit about some of the things that we have used in our journey. So when we started out, we didn't know what we didn't know. And he didn't know what he didn't know. I didn't know what I didn't know. I wasn't a professional in the field. And I relied heavily upon others to kind of guide me in my work. And that was professionals in the DD field, that was occupational therapists, speech therapists, and teachers, and everyone that surrounded kind of our bubble, our circle. And that is where I kind of gained my passion and my interest in this particular field. So one of the first things that Payton used to communicate, he was nonverbal from about 18 months. He had no language, even though he started out babbling when he was an infant and toddler. His language dropped off at about 18 months. And then did not start to develop again until we got him into speech therapy. And he started to build some language at about 5 years old again. So he used communication books. So we did a lot of just picture exchange communication, just basic, using pictures attached to Velcro so that he could show us pictures and tell us what he needed or what he wanted. So I'll give you a little glimpse at his actual communication book. So this belongs to him. Let's see if I can get it on screen here on my video. There we go. All right, so here were just some of the things, learning basic commands and requesting certain things like I need a snack or I need a break, I'd like a shower, I would like to brush my hair, I need a bath. Let me see if I can get this on camera, sorry. There we go. Almost. Just not the right angle. All right, but that's the picture exchange communication book. And there are several pages for all of the different things that we were teaching him. And I made this actually myself. I used a software called Boardmaker and printed out the actual pictures on a color printer and then attached Velcro to the back. And then just used basic plastic sheets and a 3-ring binder. So made this for probably less than $10. So that was picture exchange communication. That's one of the very first basic no tech, low tech things that we used together to help him build some language through pictures. Some of the other things that we also did together through speech therapy is he started using some AAC as well. So he used an iPad at probably from kindergarten to, I want to say, maybe 2nd grade. His language developed really quick. He had an awesome speech language pathologist. I am so grateful for her. But one of the things that we really used a lot, and he still uses to this day, is an iPad. All right, so let me get this going here. So this is an iPad Pro, and the iPad Pro actually comes with the Apple Pencil. So one of the things that he does have and that he does use at school today, like I said, he's 15, so a little bit older, is he will take notes using the Apple Pencil and the iPad Pro, so he can actually write on screen and use a variety of different apps to take notes and also keep himself organized. You can also set up reminders for his homework, for due dates. He can also set up reminders for his medication, which go off every morning and every evening. So that also reminds him of what needs to be done and prompts him to take care of his personal well-being as well. Some other things also as part of our journey, I was able to develop a lot of strong relationships with other parents. And I think that that was a huge part of our success. If I wouldn't have had that close-knit group of parents and friends, this journey would have been a whole lot harder. And so in a little bit, I'll be introducing one of our special guests that we had join us, Kate Schwartz, and I'll tell you a little bit about our friendship and our story as mothers and how that came to be. But George has a video that he actually came out to Bowling Green, Ohio, where I live, to share a little bit. I wanted to share with him a little bit about the tech that we use in our home. And he was able to take a quick video of some liftwear that we had Payton using. It was several years ago, but one of the challenges that he had was with proprioception. So when he would write in school, he would actually break the lead of pencils because he would press way too hard. And on his first day of kindergarten, he came home and he said, I broke every crayon in the box because he was just pressing far too hard. He didn't understand that he couldn't press that hard on his paper and on his desk. And so one of the occupational therapists at school recommended a vibrating pencil. And with that vibrating pencil came to be something else, which George will show you that video if he's ready. I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, I'm ready if you are.
I'm ready. Go ahead.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so this is liftwear, and liftwear is designed for people who have trouble holding utensils. So young children can use it if they're not able to hold like a small fork or spoon. So it has a wide handle. So if they have fine motor delay, this is perfect for them. Also older individuals who have tremors or are not able to hold a normal size fork or spoon.
So does it have like a weight? Is it a little heavy?
Yeah, it is.
Maybe for people with tremors?
It is a little heavy and it is weighted. But it also vibrates. So it moves up and down and it moves side to side. So I had it on the charger, but it did not charge. But typically, if it was charged, it would be vibrating left to right and up and down, and providing your hand with some sensation so that you're able to hold your spoon or fork in a steady manner. My son actually used this because he was not able to hold a spoon or fork on his own, and so this provided him with that kind of pressure that he needed and a weight to do that. The other thing that he had trouble with was holding a typical pencil when he was younger and a typical marker or pen, and so the same kind of theory. He had a weighted pencil that had an attachment at the end where we could detach the pencil, put in a pen, put in a marker, put in a colored pencil, and then he had that same kind of pressure and feeling so that he wouldn't break a pencil, a pen, or the marker tip, and he could be successful in school.
Awesome.
So this is called liftwear, and I have the spoon attachment and I also have the fork attachment as well. And this just pops right off.
Oh yeah.
So that you can pop on the next attachment.
All right, awesome.
Very cool.
Great. Thanks, George.
Sure.
So that is a part of our tech demo. I could show a lot of other things that I have and that Payton has used over the course of time. But I do want to take a little bit of time and kind of talk about those those relationships that have helped us, both Payton and myself, with our journey. And I invited Miss Kate Schwartz, one of my longtime friends and fellow autism mothers, to come join me this evening, because I think that when I was sharing with George how Kate and I have relied upon one another throughout both of our journeys, it has been abundantly clear that things would have been more difficult for both of us had we not had each other. So Kate and I actually, Kate now, ironically, is the executive director of the Autism Society of Northwest Ohio in Toledo. And she also is a mother to children with autism. And Kate and I were friends far before we ever thought that we would be in these professional roles that we are. But we met in an elevator at Bowling Green State University, gosh, probably like 13 years ago. But I'll let Kate kind of talk and tell you about how and why we became friends and how our friendship has evolved, and what having that strong mentorship, friendship has helped each other throughout our journey.
So hi, thanks for having me, Brittany. It is funny that you don't often think about how you meet someone and why you meet someone, but definitely it was because we both shared this bond of having children with autism. And it's funny that the irony that we met literally in an elevator that allowed us to become truly lifelong friends. But the journey started because, you know, I'm sure that I had that look on my face and walking into an elevator. And with that, you know, I can almost remember this conversation because you said, "What's wrong?" And I was like, I just got the phone call from school. And at the time I was an embedded parent in a Bowling Green State University class. And, you know, I was a stay-at-home mom. And so it was really hard to be 45 minutes away and, you know, still kind of meet my needs and meet my kids' needs and all of those things. And it was once a week for a couple of hours. And as we were riding the elevator, I had just gotten the phone call that I needed to come pick up my kiddo. And you just were kind, absolutely just kind. And, you know, I'm sure that that look said, "Help." And you did. And what that started was a reciprocal relationship of support, care, and love that is immeasurable and can't put a price tag on it. And I have to say that Brittany was truly instrumental in providing resources and help when we were looking at assistive technology for our kiddos. Michael is 16, Emily is 19. And, you know, when Emily was learning how to drive, we talked about Bluetooth, and we talked about, you know, I was so worried that she was going to be that kiddo that was, you know, going to try to answer a phone. And I'm like, what is out there? And Brittany did the research and got back to me right away and was like, "Hey, have you looked at XYZ?" And what you can't know, or what you can't put a price tag on, is those moments when you call when life gets really rough and you don't know when that's going to happen. And so there's a group text between the two of us and some other friends that has been a lifeline. You know, when my kid was in a car accident and she didn't call us and we got the notification through Life 360, my first call or my first text message was to my friends and my girl gang and said, "Oh my gosh, my kid's in an accident and I don't know what to do." And, you know, as I'm, you know, trying to get to her, and, you know, the text messages were furiously flying. "You're okay. She's okay. You know, she called you. You're good." And so it's those moments in life that are really, really important, but it's also that bond that has helped, not just with finding out about technology and resources and, you know, how to pay for those things, but it's also that friendship that, you know that if something goes wrong at 3 a.m, that you can call, you can text. And I, in my professional world, tell parents all the time, find your tribe. And I am so very thankful that one random day that I was at Bowling Green State University and I walked in and found another mom, when I'm sure that I was probably like a moment away from dissolving into tears, because I started that class and did that class for something that was outside of my house and a way to give back. And that kindness has, made a ripple effect throughout the course of my life.
And
So-
Kate, you have been that to me, that lifeline as well. And that lifeline for so many other parents too. And finding your tribe, I think is the real message behind a lot of it. And that's what I was sharing with George when I first had met with him, was that without each other and without having that strong support on those really bad days, on those really hard days, or I don't know what to do next, or I don't know where the next step is, or what the next step might be. Having that person there like Kate to send a text to and just say, what do you think I should do next, or what do you think the next step is so crucial. It's been such an important part of where I've been and how I'm getting through all the places that we've been. And I still rely on you for so many things. And every time I don't know the answer to something, I text you. And every time I feel like you don't know the answer to something, I'm on the other end of a text.
But I think it goes to the bigger picture of we're not alone. And that's my second message. My first is find your tribe. And my second is know you're not alone in this. And that, it's those friendships, it's those relationships that carry us as parents through this journey.
Definitely. And I think that that's what Tech Ambassadors can offer individuals and families, is a lifeline. If you're struggling, if you don't know what your next step is in terms of technology, we can do consultations. We can reach out to you, sit down with you one-on-one and figure out what that is. If you don't know what you don't know, that's where you can lean on and lean into some experts so that you can figure out what those next steps might be. Or get some ideas, generate, some brainstorming. I did a consultation last week where that's most of what we did, was just some really good brainstorming and idea generating around what the needs of the particular individual that I was supporting needed.
That is awesome. I love that. And you know what? If folks are out there and you don't have a tribe, start with us. We can be your tribe, right? Or at least maybe help you locate a tribe somewhere in the state. All right. Well, that is wonderful. Thank you so much for all of that. I love the fact that you wanted to have Kate on. What a great relationship you all have. And it's just such a neat, encouraging thing to see how long that's lasted and what that's really meant for both of you. All right. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. In just a minute, we're going to go ahead and launch into a Q&A. And we've already got one question that was really interesting asked in the Q&A that we're going to make sure that Brittany gets a chance to actually say that answer live. Before we do that, we do have a couple of poll questions that I want to just pop up here, as we always do. So we have two questions. And the first one is on the event segments in our Tech Ambassador events like this one. If you've had a chance to come to any of the live events, that's great too. So what type of segment would you most like to see in a Tech Ambassador event? And you can answer more than one answer here. So the possible answers are educational material on remote supports and assistive tech, live technology demonstrations, pre-recorded technology demonstrations, personal stories of tech ambassadors and other question and answer sessions with attendees or other. So we appreciate your feedback. This is useful to us, and this these two questions are questions that we've asked in many of our virtual events like this one with folks all across the state. So, your answers are going to be kind of combined with the answers that we've received in other events. And hopefully we'll have some really good data to take away from that one. All right. We're going to go ahead and end that one and then ask the next question. So question 2 is on other activities, right? Besides our events, what would be the most important thing that Ohio Tech Ambassadors can do? Your thoughts on this. So possible answers here: meet with individuals and families about assistive tech, speak at advocacy group meetings, speak at conferences on assistive tech, speak at staff meetings for county boards, COGS or other agencies, and then an other there. So we'll give everyone just a minute to answer that question. It's important to us to have your feedback on, what other things that we can be doing and should be doing outside of these events. All right. Very good. We appreciate your feedback. Okay. So we're just going to take some time now for Q&A, and we can start. By the way, at this point, it's up to you. If you'd want to raise your hand and come on to join us on camera, and we'll promote you to a panelist, you can ask your question live. Or if you prefer to just use the Q&A, that's totally fine too. Here's a question asked by Melissa. And you mentioned Payton and his use of the iPad for reminders. So her question is, what app does he use for the reminders? Is it the native iOS reminders, or is it something else, like a specific app?
Sure. So Payton actually syncs his iPad to his iPhone so that when his iPhone is in his pocket with him all the time, he's also getting those reminders. So he does use the calendar app on his iPhone, which also syncs to the calendar on his iPad. That's one of the main apps that he uses. The other app, let me just grab that for you. That is one that I know he uses a lot. I know I have it here too. Some of his favorites. And he's always teaching me new things too, like check this out, or look at this one, Mom. I think this one might work. So I'm always learning from him too. The one that he actually really likes is Routinely, and I actually recommended that to someone that I was doing a tech consult with last week, and it has the capability of syncing to your Apple Watch as well. So if your child is an Apple Watch user or you're an Apple Watch user, that's another thing, especially with transitions and timers. Routinely you can set those up. I know with studying, that's one of his challenges, is he doesn't know how much time he should allot for studying. And so we talk about that a lot in the evenings with homework. He'll completely immerse himself in one subject and then forget that he needs to divide his time out into 4 subjects. And so we work a lot on time management, executive functioning, and it's a work in progress, but we're continuing to tweak, as I'm sure you are too.
Okay, wonderful. Here's one from Renee. We had the talk about tribes. Yes. So her question is, equally, don't parents of typical kids need a tribe when things get tough with them, typical kids, something like a car accident?
Yes. And Renee, I have a younger son, Parker, who is typically developing. And, I have a mom tribe of his friends as well. And so they have been integral in all of the things that he is now doing that are, right in par with ornery 14, he's almost 14, 13-year-old boys. So all of the things that Parker loves, like hunting, fishing, trapping, and everything outdoorsy that he loves to do. So I've surrounded myself with all of those mamas and parents, so that I can learn more about all the things that he loves to do as well, Renee.
Awesome. All right, let's see. Someone that we know has his hand up. So we are going to promote Nathan Turner to become a panelist. He has a question. Welcome, Nate.
Well, Zoom background, sorry. I forgot
No
to do that.
worries. You wear a lot of hats, Nate.
Brittany, it's so good to see you. And it's good to learn about you and your experiences with Payton. My question is, I'd love it if you could talk more about the way Payton uses AAC and some of the challenges that he's encountered and some of the successes over time and how he's learned to grow and mature with it and how it's helped him advocate.
Yeah, great question. Great question, Nate. So AAC was really challenging. We started with PECs. And I do know that we didn't necessarily have to start with PECs or low tech. We could have dove right into AAC when he was really young. But again, we didn't know what we didn't know at the time, and we didn't choose that route. He used very basic PECs apps at first. And then we trialed up to Prologue to go with him when he was probably, I want to say like first grade. And it was not very successful. But also at that same time, he started developing a lot of language. And so he wasn't nearly as reliant on the AAC as what he had been before. So he started developing language very rapidly between first and second grade. By fourth grade, he was fully verbal. So just to give you an example, in kindergarten, instead of using language, he would bark like a dog. He would growl, or he just wouldn't talk at all. And we didn't know what any of that meant, or if his language would develop, despite spending thousands and thousands of dollars on speech therapy. But we stuck with it, and he was a trooper, man. He was such a trooper. The only thing we never tried was we never did any ABA. ABA was a thing when he was younger, but it wasn't widely available in our area. There wasn't a lot of ABA therapists, and if we wanted to put him in a program, it would have been very intense, 40 hours a week, and he was doing well among his typically aged peers in public school. And so we kept him in that setting, and kind of just hoped for the best, and he did really well. So that was one of the only things we did not try. I did get a text message from someone who's on the webinar right now who said, Brittany, can you define typical? And here's the answer. No, I cannot define typical. I cannot define typical. I don't know the answer to that. So I should not have used that term.
Well, I think that's one of those terms we all use just because of the community that we serve, but I agree with you. That's really a difficult thing to define.
Right.
Well,
Nate,
thank you so much, Nate.
Did I answer your question, Nate? Cool. Thanks for joining us.
All right, let's see. I've got one for Brittany.
Okay.
So, when we met and talked, you told me, I think maybe a little more detail about the very, very early years with Payton. Would you have any advice for parents of very young children who might be behind developmentally?
Oh, yeah. It's really hard. It's really, really hard. And those days are long. and those days are trying, and they will put a lot of stress on your relationship with your partner. They will put a lot of stress on your relationship with your family. Just to give you one example, my grandparents, bless them, my grandfather is no longer with us, but we would take my boys to the senior center in my hometown, and my grandparents would make an announcement in front of all their friends and say, now this is Payton, he got the autism. And so if he does something bizarre or strange, it's because he got the autism, as if it was a communicable disease. And so it took a lot of just educating our family about what autism was and what they could expect or might see, or the different behaviors that Payton could possibly exhibit. And then we started kind of educating also their friends. So when we would go to the senior center and something might happen, or, or he might say something or do something, we would use it as a teaching moment amongst all of these, 80-something-year-old folks in this very small conservative community, to teach them about what is autism. And of course, they would say things like, well, on Oprah, I saw that vaccinations cause autism. And so it would start this, this bubbling conversation. And so, I would try to provide them with as much information and education as I could to kind of dispel some of those things. But for young parents, it is hard. It's hard with your family. It's hard with your partner. It's a lot of sleepless nights. Payton didn't sleep well. He didn't eat well. He had a hard time wearing a lot of clothes. He had a lot of sensory difficulties as well. So everything seemed challenging. And I thought it was hard for me, but I reflect on that and I can't imagine how hard it was for him and how hard it is still for him. And so that is what I always kind of keep in the back of my mind. Things are still really difficult for him. Being in high school and being very different is so tough, so tough. But he embraces it. He has a lot of really cool friends that love him for just the way he is, and have been around since kindergarten. And his little brother, is the biggest supporter and the biggest catalyst to all of his awesome new relationships, helps him, make friends, keep friends, and manage all of those really difficult kind of things like meeting girls. So that's a real thing as a teenager. And so we are just now making some of those new headways.
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, let me, if you don't mind, sort of bring this forward, right? So, he's 15, he's sort of in that transition window. So that's a whole process for many people. Maybe can you comment on what it's like as a parent right now, and maybe see if you can sort of fast forward 10 more years and comment on what issues maybe you see out there in the future for you as the parent or for him.
Yeah. George, that's a really hard question for parents. It's a really hard question for me because I don't know what I don't know. So it takes me back to being like in this very anxiety-ridden state of, when he was transitioning from preschool to kindergarten. That's what it makes me feel like when you ask me that. I don't know. I don't know. And it's scary. It's very, very scary for me. So I am very hopeful. He's very intelligent. He's a really hard worker. He faces every challenge that's thrown at him with a ton of effort, and doesn't let too much stop him. So I believe that he will live independently and probably go to college and be incredibly successful. But I do believe that he will need probably a little bit of support. So some really cool friends that are very understanding, he will need to find his tribe in the next phase of his life as he embarks on college and things like that. Like I said, he gets really good grades and is an excellent student. And so I think that he will certainly thrive in a college environment where he can study something that he's so into, which is math, science, things I was never good at. I'm still not really good at either one of those things. And so yeah, I do see him doing all those things. Now, he still does not have a driver's license. He's 15 and a half, but has kind of been dragging his feet about getting his permit. And so I've given him a little bit of space on that and let him kind of take his time. But that's certainly something that I think he's interested in. And he has driven a couple of times on our little country one-lane road. But I'm hopeful for him that he will show some initiative, that he wants to drive and be independent in that realm. And Kate, my dear friend Kate, has passed this milestone with her own daughter, and I know that she'll be there to kind of guide me and support me through this milestone with Payton. So thanks for asking that question, George, but that's hard to talk about.
Well, you know what? I appreciate you being very, very honest and vulnerable about that,
Yeah.
Brittany, because I think that parents of all ages are in that boat with you. And one of the really strongest things about what you bring to Tech Ambassadors is, in spite of the fact that you've had a lot of success and Payton's had a lot of success, you've not lost the real edge that I think a lot of parents can really relate to. So we're really hoping that we'll have some folks reach out to you on that basis.
Yeah,
So,
I hope so. I hope so too. And I think, when you came to visit me, George, my house was not clean. I had dirty dishes in the sink. I had a basket of laundry that needed to be folded in my living room. And I just said, this is me. This is my real life. This is always how my house is going to look, because things are crazy. Things are really, really difficult. I'm a single mom, I've got 2 kids. I'm divorced. There's a lot going on in my life, a lot happening. But I think that a lot of parents have a lot happening. And I think that's what kind of sets us apart, is that all of us Tech Ambassadors are very relatable, very approachable, and just want to be able to help people person to person.
Yeah, well said. Very well said. All right, if you don't mind, let me switch gears on you a little bit here. Can you maybe talk for a few minutes here? We just got a few minutes left, about maybe some of your favorite assistive technologies, if you could think of ones that are, relatively low cost.
Ooh, low cost. Good one. So I love the Dollar Tree. I grew up going to the Dollar Tree with my grandparents, and I also grew up going to a lot of garage sales and auctions. So let's start with the Dollar Tree. The Dollar Tree always has magnifying glasses, like little magnifying glass.
Yeah.
Anyone can benefit from using a magnifying glass. The other thing you can always get at the Dollar Tree is highlighters. Every student, especially this time of the year, can benefit from highlighters. And they can be used for a variety of different things in the classroom or outside of the classroom. Pencil grips. All these are all low tech, no tech types of things that you can buy at the Dollar Tree. Now $1.25, not just $1.
Yep.
But I would say scour the shelves at the Dollar Tree. That's one of my favorite things to do. Also going to garage sales and looking at tech that someone else has abandoned, picking it up for pennies on the dollar, and then YouTubing and figuring out how you can fix it, or it probably may even still work. I know that for Payton, I have picked up a little iPod Nano when he was young.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone remembers the
Yeah.
iPod Nano, but
Yeah.
I downloaded a book and put it on an iPod Nano when he was probably, I don't know, in third grade, and gave him a set of headphones. And here he would just clip that onto his shirt, and he would listen to a book on his iPod Nano that I got at a garage sale for $5.
That is great.
You don't know what you'll find when you're out there shopping the garage sales, for sure. Let me think of some other of my favorite. And I think some of my former assistive technology graduate students might be on this webinar, so they might be able to say, Brittany, these are some of the things that you taught us. Why aren't you talking about them? So if you're out there, you can chime in.
By the way, feel free to just open it up to something that's not low cost. If you have favorites that you wouldn't put in that category, you could share those too. But
I have a comment. One of the very first things that Brittany and I talked about was doing a visual schedule and running around the house taking pictures of his, natural environment, and then kind of printing them off. And it was 49 cents, I think, for 4x6. And we created a flip chart, or like a flip picture book, that went through all of the things, getting dressed, brushing teeth, all of those kinds of fun things. And it was Brittany's idea. So super low cost, and it worked really, really well.
Taking pictures of your child's or anyone's natural environment, of things that they can relate to, are really successful, can be really successful. Payton's favorite thing when he was younger, and it still is one of his favorite things, is going to BGSU hockey games. And so he had to use pictures of the BGSU ice arena to write a social story so that he could reduce his anxiety about walking into the ice arena and sitting through a whole game when he was much younger. And then we would use pictures of his favorite players as kind of motivators in a picture schedule at home. So the little things like that, everything from Ghostbusters to Ninja Turtles to WWE wrestlers to BGSU hockey players. So whatever it takes that your loved one or student or whoever you're working with is really into or really likes, make those pictures as relatable as possible.
That is great. Love those. We even used to use little visual schedules with our kids when they were tiny. So
that's awesome.
All right. Well, I'll just in case anyone has one final question, we just have a minute or two left. We'll let you answer or ask it so we can get an answer here. Anyone else? All right. I think we're going to go ahead and call it a night. Just want to say thank you to everyone that came. We are super excited about having Brittany as a part of our team, and we know that she's going to be this relatable person that really helps make a difference in the lives of some family members. So thank you for being a part of that introduction to Ohio. And thank you, Brittany, again, for your time and, sharing your life and just letting us get a peek inside of, what it's like for you as a mom and some of what it's like for Payton. We really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for everyone for joining us.
All right. Well, good night, everyone. Have a wonderful evening, and we will catch you at a later event.